Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Well, if you're new here, welcome to my channel. If you are not new here, welcome back to my channel. Even though according to YouTube analytics, almost all of my viewers are new to my channel. Like people who have watched my videos once do not come back to my channel ever, which is a pity because I'm great, I'm great. Like come back. Where are you going? Hit that subscribe button, comment below if you if you're new here or not, comment that below, like, share and all that. So, and let's get into the video. I'm gonna be talking about the worst books that I've read this year. In this year, no hate to the author or anything like that. I just did not like the book. I need to put that out there. Do not come at me. This is my personal opinion, and I know I check the reviews of these books almost all the time. If there's a book that I really love, or if there's a book that I didn't particularly like, I will check the reviews on Goodreads. I check the reviews in Goodreads, and I know that there are people who absolutely adored the book, and there are people who absolutely hated it, and that is completely okay because everybody is entitled to their own personal opinion. All right, do not come at me for that. They're not all 1 stars, but there is some 1 stars, and when I say 1 stars, I gave them 1 stars because I cannot give them 0 stars or -1 stars or -1000 stars. If I could, I would have, because it was that bad. There are also some books that I gave like 2 stars or like 3 stars that might not deserve to be here, but I have my own reason to put it here. This will include spoilers, by the way, because I need to talk about this. So the first book that we're talking about is The Bromance Book Club by Lisa K. Adams. This is the first book in the series. It is interconnected standalone. 5 books total. I've only read the first book, which was more than enough. So this is the story of Gavin and Tia. So the story starts with like Gavin being utterly drunk and like whining about how Tia kicked him out and stuff like that. And then he's a hockey player, he's a pro, I think he's pro. Him and his teammates discussing the situation, and then his teammates like being like, there's this thing. And it's like the first rule, and then sort of initiating him into this bromance book club. And essentially this is a book club that they founded, that these guys whatever founded to sort of understand what their partners want in the relationship. The first rule of book club: you don't talk about book club. They discuss books, or essentially like, what do you take from these books and how do you put that in to your relationship. That's what these guys discuss. And when I first like read the description, I was very intrigued by the book. I was like, this is great. Like, this is an incredibly fun idea. Like, this is like nothing I've ever read before. So I was very excited for the book, and when I read it, I was utterly disappointed. Execution was just terrible. There is no other way to put it. It was just that bad. I also absolutely hated Tia. Tia made me want to commit first-degree murder. This book has like highly unrealistic situations, or like highly unrealistic men, I'd say. When they start talking, it's just, nobody talks like this. Like, nobody talks like this. Okay, this is my notes, with which I will be going off today. Tia kicks Gavin out. So in an attempt to save his marriage, Gavin does this. So he gets this book, which is like, I don't know, this book which is like set in the 1900s or something like that. I don't know, pretty back. And what happens is that these guys do say that you should never quote the book characters or anything like that. You should never recreate the situations from the book in order to win back his wife. He does exactly that. He uses lines from the book to sort of win over Tia, and then Tia does find it out, and then Tia is understandably mad about it. Stupidity on Gavin's part. Apart from that, I did not particularly think that Gavin was a bad guy or anything like that. I didn't really find any big red flags in Gavin. I think Gavin was actively trying to trying to fight for his marriage, and I think Tia was actively fighting against that, and it just didn't really go well for me. there was this one bit where Gavin sort of punched this guy for like kind of flirting with Thea, and then Thea blew up on him saying like, you know, you don't have any right to go like this alpha male or whatever and stuff like that. And I don't really care because it's a book and we like it when men act, you know, possessive and jealous and stuff like that. I understand we don't like that in real life, but it's a book. I don't care. Okay, it is not a valid argument for you to have. Okay, just especially because like they are having lots of issues in their marriage, and this guy who flirts with Thea is doing it on purpose to aggravate Gavin. So Gavin snaps and punches this guy, and it came out of like they did hint at something going down. I thought it would go down nicely. It did not, because Thea blew up on Gavin. These are the only things I found like lacking in Gavin, or like red flags or whatever in Gavin. Thea, on the other hand, is like danger. That is the only way to describe Thea. Thea is an artist. Over and over again, Thea is like, I'm not like other girls, you know, like other. Oh, I think this guy is baseball and not hockey, by the way. So Thea is not like other baseball wives, alright? Thea is different. Thea wears like graphic tees. She's different. You don't get it. She's different. I was so annoyed with Thea all throughout the book. Yeah, there was this one time and these men were like, they're sitting in a cafe and they're buying like latte and whatever, I don't know. They're buying some drinks that are like typically girly drinks. I think so. Like I think like pumpkin spice latte or something. I don't know. I didn't find the whole point of it because because I don't drink any of these. Like we don't have Starbucks. We do have Starbucks, but we don't really have like pumpkin spice latte or like skinny latte or all those stuff like vanilla. We don't have any of that here. We just have coffee, which I make. I don't go out and drink coffee. It's a good, I think like 10-20 kilometers or something to get to the nearest Starbucks, which is just not worth it. So we don't do that here. So I don't get that. I don't get the girly drinks or like the whatever. I don't get it. It's not a big deal. You want a pumpkin spice latte, get a pumpkin spice latte. Nobody cares. Okay, this is not. But in this book, it's like, I don't know. It's just the way this book sort of writes. It's as if like these men are different for ordering these drinks. You know, these men are feminist because they order these drinks. I have nothing to say. And then they like discover Pinterest. There's a scene where, oh my god, shut up. Then there's a scene where they like discover Pinterest and then just keep looking at Pinterest and they're like, this is so cool. And we're like, we know. Okay. Lots of people use Pinterest. Again, not a big deal. Targeting a specific audience, and that specific audience is like feminist. That's what I felt like. I'm a feminist. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a feminist. And this book felt so annoying because it didn't really seem like feminism to me at all. It felt like they were trying really hard to be a feminist. These characters were trying really hard to be feminist. Even the Thea, it's like she's a feminist, but she has these internalized misogyny. She slut shames this one girl. Even though that girl is kind of bitchy, I guess, but that does not warrant that slut shaming or whatever. And then she's also like a very, very, very pick-me girl because she's not like other girls. They also have 2 kids. They have twins. Gavin was set up to failure from the very beginning. He was never going to win. Okay, it's always like whatever happens, it's always Gavin's fault. Thea does nothing wrong. Nothing. All right. This is also a quote. Somebody said this in Goodreads. Gavin didn't need to win his wife back. He needed a new wife. Just perfection. That is exactly what needed to happen. He needed to find a new wife. Like, I love a good happy ending, but this felt like a sad ending. Okay, this whole book was like, women does nothing wrong, it's always the men's fault. Like in a marriage, a wife does nothing wrong or a girlfriend does nothing wrong, it's always the men being assholes, and that is just not true. Okay, that is not the point of feminism. That is not what we're going for. That is utterly, that whole point is just bad. And this girl, she was like highly manipulative. They got married because they got pregnant. So they were dating, and then she became pregnant. So he proposed, I think, and then they got married because of that, only because of that. So it's already it's like a murky area, and I think they never should have got married because they don't know each other on a level that you need to know before you getting married. Get married. That part, they just don't know each other at all. So what happens is, like, throughout the entirety of their marriage, she faked her orgasms. And when he finds out, it's when the way he finds out is like they have sex. She orgasmed, and then he was like, "What was that?" And then she's like, "An orgasm." And he was like, "You have been faking it this whole time," because he could feel it. And then he was like, "This felt a little different, you know." And then obviously he got mad and he like went to the guest bedroom or whatever, and then things just went downhill from there. And there's one time they had like a fight or whatever, and he was like, she asked him to get out, to leave, and he left. But you guys, it was a test, all right? She was testing to see if he was reliable or if he would just leave her the way her dad left his multiple wives. Her dad is like cannot commit, so has like 4 or 5 marriages or whatever, and that left a very, very staggering impact on her, and she does not believe in love or marriage or commitment or anything like that. So it's still very confusing to me why she got married in the first place, but she did, so there's nothing we can do about that now. But so she does not believe that he actually loves her. She cannot say "I love you" back to him, even though he says it a lot. She can also not hear it and like process it, and like completely process it because of her, I hate to say this, daddy issues. I don't particularly like that term, but it's true. Here she has daddy issues, and that, or like trust issues, stemmed from daddy issues. Even again, I hate that term, but there's no better way to say this. The thing is, how the hell was he supposed to know that this was a test, that he wasn't actually supposed to leave? Like, when your very distraught wife tells you to get out after a fight, it kinda is evident that you might leave. He is not a mind reader, lady. Thea was also projecting all of her insecurities onto Gavin and her relationship with Gavin. She was like projecting everything that she took from her dad's relationship with his partners onto her relationship with Gavin, even though Gavin was like a much better guy. Clearly, like, Gavin deserved better than Thea. Unfortunately, we cannot, I mean, I like these toxic relationships being, I'm saying toxic relationships should be portrayed and should be talked about more in books or in movies or whatever, but it should not be glorified in this way. It should not seem like even if you are toxic, you're going to get a happy ending. That should not be there. This was she was toxic. Thea was toxic. Thea was a walking, talking, breathing red flag. All right, she had a lot of issues to walk through before she could be in a committed relationship, and that did not happen. I'm ranting right now, it's 20 minutes. I did not talk about Liv. Liv is Thea's sister, and she all throughout the book has been actively trying to break up their marriage because Liv is scared that Thea is gonna leave her. This book was just terrible. Next book is Steel Princess by Reena Kent. This is the second book in the Royal Elite series. Features Elsa and Aiden. When I talk about this book, I'm going to talk about the entirety of Aiden and Elsa's, their 3 trilogies. I think it's Deviant King, Steel Princess, and something else. I don't know, something else. I gave it 2 stars. This series did not need this, their story could have been written in like 500 or maybe 600 page one book if Reena wanted to, including all these smut and whatever. If she completely took off the smut, you can like conclude the story into 300-400 page books, because Reena has done that before. Reena has written books, like complex stories, in like standalones in one book. She's done that, or maybe even duets, even, which I don't think is necessary because the story was stretched so much. It just was not. You could have written this in one book. If this was one book, I would have given it 3 stars or maybe even 4 stars. I don't know. Okay, but this 3 books, it's just not necessary. Steel Princess had like 0 plot momentum. Like, it started and ended in the same way. You go to Steel Princess with a lot of cliffhangers from the first book, and those cliffhangers or questions are not answered throughout the book. Nothing, absolutely nothing. It's just frustrating. And a book is like that. You read an entire book and like nothing has happened. Nothing. That's what I felt like when I read Steel Princess. Like nothing. I think this was like some review. Somebody said like there's a lot of secrets. There's a lot of secrets, and none of these secrets are answered in the first or in the second book. So which means you have to read the third book in order for, and it's just exhausting. Like I have better things to do with my time. If I'm spending my time reading your books, you need to give me something. Okay, in these 3 books, like nothing, or the first 2 books, nothing. Aiden, he's an absolute bully, right? And like I like dark romance. I like a little everything. And I even like bully. I don't particularly, not always, I don't like bully romance, but like a little bit hatred on one part, I like that. Okay, for example, even Black Knight, I like Black Knight. I loved Black Knight. Empire of Hate. I liked Empire of Angry God, which was by L.J. Shen. The first 2 books I just mentioned are from Rena Kent. These are all, even I even like the Corrupt by Penelope Douglas. I even like that. So it's like a little bit of hating and like bullying, and I understand, and sometimes I even like it. But my god, like see, if you've had sex with her once, twice, 3 times, it's about time you go soft for her. Okay, you need to go soft for her. This guy is 2 books in, and it's like towards the end of 2nd book or whatever, he's saying that you're lucky I like you, or I would have like absolutely destroyed you. Like dude, you fucked her like multiple times by now. Shut the fuck up. I absolutely hated that in this book. Like there's a point, there's a limit to everything. Okay, this bullying and like hating should have ended by the 1st book. If it's going to be a trilogy, if these people still hate each other by the 2nd book, but they're having sex, like lots of sex, and like every time he touches her, she's like, I'm not going to touch him anymore, you know, self-respect and whatever. And like he is 5 feet near her, she's a puddle on the floor. I mean, come on, grow a spine, like backbone, please. Please. Aiden is a narcissist and a sociopath, and not in a good way. Like, not in a good way. I've read Rena Kent's other books where these guys are like kind of psychopathic or whatever, and it's okay, it's understandable. When I read it, it's nice because it's a lot more paced. You know, like most of those books are like standalone, so like you see progress in their relationship, and in this I see no progress in their relationship. Like leave the story aside, their relationship is not moving forward. It's like they fight, they have sex, and he's like, I'm gonna destroy you, I hate you, and she's like, I hate you too, you're not gonna touch me again, and then they have sex again. That's it, and it's annoying. I read Culpa by Mercedes Ron, 2 stars. Kinda self-explanatory, I'd say. It wasn't that great. I read the book because I saw the film and I didn't hate the film. I mean, yeah, I understand there's a lot of red flags and whatever, but it's a fun film. So I didn't hate it. So I was like, I'll read the book. Maybe it's because I read it in like, you know, English is not, it was written in Spanish, I think. So maybe that's why I didn't particularly like the book, but I just thought it was so cringy. So no. Maybe if I had read this book while I was like 13 or 14, I might have liked it more, but I'm 19 now. Not a whole lot better, but no, just no. It was not good. And I understand, it's like, it felt like a Wattpad book, that's it. And it felt like a typical Wattpad book. While I love Wattpad and I love their books, like Wattpad has a lot of great stories, there are like typical Wattpad books, and this is one of them, and I don't see the hype. Again, this is gonna be a long oh, I hate Rachel. So Packing Around by Emily Rath. It is the first book in Jacksonville series. I've read the first book, Packing Around, and the name, and That One Night, which is the prequel of Packing Around. I DNF this at like 50%. This book is 800 pages long. Somewhat 800 pages long. Like, for what? Just to read them having sex, because that's all this book is. Like, up until the 400, 300 something, 400 pages that I read, it's just them having sex. Nothing else. There's nothing else. Right, Jake, Caleb, and Mars. 3 guys and Rachel. Jake and Caleb, I think like they're gay for each other. So it's like MM and then FMMM. So 2 types of relationship that's mentioned in this. It started off with just Rachel and Jacob. Them meeting, having a one night stand. That's the prequel, that one night. That was okay. That prequel was okay. The only thing I found hilarious is that there's this line where Rachel's like, I pull off leather jumpsuits better than Scarlett Johansson, and I'm like, nobody pulls off leather jumpsuit better than Scarlett Johansson. Be for real, alright? Scarlett Johansson is the queen of leather jumpsuits, okay? Nobody is doing that better than her. It felt very like, I'm better than others' wives. I don't know, maybe it's because I hate her. I don't know. It could be that because I had already read the Jack fucking around before, like that one night. So I already hated Rachel going in to that one night. So it could be that, I don't know. Rachel is thirsty, desperate, unprofessional, whiny, manipulative, infuriating, selfish, and self-centered. It started off with just like Rachel comes in and she's like the new team doctor, their team's doctor, and Caleb is sort of like her neighbor, kinda, and so there's like an immediate attraction between Caleb and Rachel, and I shipped them at the beginning. And the same goes for Jake. Like when Jake sees Rachel there, and you know, they understand that this is the, like, they, you know, this is that girl or that guy from that one night. And there's also some chemistry there, so there's some tension there as well. And again, I did not hate it in the beginning, but there is a rule, like they cannot date. She cannot date the players, but obviously she breaks that rule and they have sex, and then she has sex with Caleb. And then even though Jake tells her like he's in love with her and he's her soulmate or whatever, and nothing, she goes ahead and fucks Caleb the very next day, I think. So it's just, they exploit, especially she exploits Jake a lot. I think Jake just deserved better. Jake and Caleb are best friends. Caleb had an injury very early into his career, and then he had to quit the game. I think that's what, like, so he's very insecure about all that. And Caleb also has a crush on Jake, and Jake doesn't know. And then she sort of forces Jake into having sex with Caleb, giving Caleb a BJ, and like she's the sub and the dom in the bedroom, which doesn't make sense, but it does, kinda, because everybody's different. You cannot judge whatever they like in the bedroom, so whatever, fine. Yeah, it's just 800 pages of smart. For you to get any character development or any of that, I feel like you need to get into like well into the book, which is just not worth your time, not worth my time, and I did not want to do that. Okay, it's just them having sex. Like, why would I want to put myself through that? And it's not even good sex. Ugh. And like when she moves in with Jake and Caleb, and nothing has happened with Mars just yet, and they're having this kinda okay-ish arrangement, even though it's not that good. Then comes in Mars, and Mars really likes her, and Mars is like, I like you, and she's like, I'm having sex with Jake and Caleb, and then Mars is like, oh, all right, okay, I don't want to do anything with you anymore because I kind of like monogamy. And then she's like, how dare you? She's like, how dare you like monogamy? It is my choice if I want to have sex with 1 man or 2 men or 3 men or the entire team. It is my choice. He didn't say anything about that. He just said he likes not sharing his women. Hence, he doesn't want to do anything with her anymore. And then she is automatically like, like, some people like monogamy. Some people like polyamorous relationships. Some people, you know, the white shoes thing. Some people like that. Some people prefer having 2 partners or 3 partners or whatever. Some people like not wanting to share their partners, and that's okay too. Like, why she was so judgy about it. She was like judging him for not wanting a relationship, you know, sorry, she was judging him for not wanting a relationship with just her, and not wanting to add these other guys into it. But while it's her choice wanting to have sex with 2 guys, it's his choice wanting his girlfriend to only fuck him, you know. And she was, I think that scene was like the nail on the coffin for me. And I was like, it's you're being judgy right now. Rachel was the one being judgy in that moment. Rachel was the one being a red flag, not him. He was not being anything. He was like, oh, the moment she said it, he was like, oh. And then I think they were like holding hands or something, and then he left that hand. That's it. And then she was immediately like, what? And he's like, he just does not want anything with her, want to do anything with her while she has a relationship with 2 other people. And that's perfectly normal. Her acting as if he's in the wrong for wanting a monogamous relationship, that was just not okay. Okay, that was just not okay. And also something I don't particularly enjoy was that, like these guys in the beginning did not really want this 3 relationship. I mean, the first 2 guys eventually become okay with it, and Mars, I don't know when he becomes okay with it. I did not get to that point, but I really liked Mars. I would have preferred her getting into a relationship with just him, because I felt like that there was so much in that story, but that obviously is not going to happen, and I'm not going to waste my time reading more of this atrocity. Like, no thank you. She was also somebody who talked about her sign so much. Like, I understand liking astrology, okay? I have a best friend who likes astrology and like these signs and everything. I'm intrigued by it. I don't particularly believe in it, but I think it's fun. I like searching the horoscope and all that. I think it's fun. But oh my god, when these signs, when that is your entire personality, there is something wrong with you. Like, lady, shut the fuck up. There was this one Goodreads review, and it's like, oh my god, she didn't mention Sai to her boss. No, she did not tell her boss her zodiac sign. Like, oh my god, that's accurate, because she would not shut up about this, and it's just annoying. I'm sorry, it's annoying. I felt like she should have chosen. This should not have been a white shoes, or like like a FMMM polyamorous situation. This should not have been that, because the way Emily Rath went with the story was just not cool. It just did not hit that. Like, I love a good polyamorous relationship. Lily Gold, I think Lily Gold is the perfect example of this. She does this wonderfully well. All her books are in the same way. All her books are the same. 3 guys, 1 girl. Usually there's 1 guy she has a good relationship with. The other 3 guys are super close with this guy, so eventually another guy goes in, and there's always a 3rd guy who's very, very hesitant but also is very, very into her, and then this guy goes in as well. And then yeah, there's always some controversy, some situation that happens that's like causing them to fight or whatever, causing them to almost break up, but then they get together. This is the thing. But Lily Gold changes the circumstance. She changes the characters, and I think she does it incredibly well. So I think she just did that really, really nicely, and Emily Rath didn't. I'm sorry. It was so not good. It was so bad. The next one is The Worst Best Man by somebody. This was also 1 star. I have a whole 40-minute rant review on The Worst Best Man. It is currently private. I will make it public if any of you is interested. The reason why I did not like this, in these books you will find that all of these mentioned, I really hate the female character, and that's why I've given this book 1 star. Even if I hate the male character, if I like the female character, I don't care. But these female characters just did not really hit that spot right now, so I don't like them. The same goes for The Worst Best Man. It felt a lot like the Bromance book club. I think this guy deserved better than the girl. I don't remember their names, I'm sorry. Again, she was very manipulative. It's also a book where like everything is his fault, and even though it's not his fault, everything is his fault. Okay, he's gonna be blamed for it. He's gonna be the one who has to act on it. He's gonna be the one who has to ask for forgiveness and like do all of the things to get the forgiveness and like work on the relationship even when she doesn't want to. And I did not like that. I don't like that one bit. I think it's like very, very backward thinking. Like in the real life, with putting men on a, like in the real life, if it's like misogyny is the problem. I feel like in fictional world, misandry is the problem. Oftentimes it's always the men's fault, and that's not okay. Like, we're fighting this thing, and that's sexist as well. That's highly sexistic as well. You shouldn't do that. Like, sometimes it's the girl's fault as well. It's not always the boy's fault. Sometimes the girl does the wrong thing as well. Sometimes they have to be the one who asks for forgiveness. I want books like that, because I know if I'm single, I've never been in a relationship. I know when I do get into a relationship, I'm going to make mistakes. Okay, so I need books where it, like, where they talk about these things. They talk about a girl making a mistake, a girl fearing. I mean, there are a lot of books like that. Okay, there are a lot of books where girls fear commitment and all that, but I want books like that. You know, I want books where girls are the ones who are begging for forgiveness, because that would really help me. I feel like that I would really, really appreciate. The next one is the Boardwalk Mafia. Altogether, I'm giving the series 2 stars. Reason why I did not like it: it's the story of 4 brothers and 1 girl: Dante, Nico, Angelo, Stefan, and Ava. Again, this book was, I talked about it in one of my other videos. Again, this book was trilogy. There were 3 books. If this was like 1 book, I would have liked it, because it was a good story, but I felt like this was stretched so much and filled with so much smut that I did not particularly like it. That's it. I don't have anything else bad to say about it. Friendzone 1 star, Heartless 1 star. This I DNF'd. Friendzone I DNF'd again for the same thing, as in I did not like the female character. Like, I DNF'd it like for 1 chapter, 2 chapter. I just did not like her. So it was like, why waste my time? I did not read it. Heartless again, I did not like the female character. 1 chapter in, I DNF'd it. People are saying really good things about the book, but I don't want to power through it. Like, there are lots of better books out there. I don't need to do that, you know. I can read better books. In Heartless, he's a single parent, and she's like gonna be the live-in nanny. I hated in single parent books when the nanny comes in and like questions everything the single parent does, and like does the exact opposite of whatever the parent wants to do. I hate that when that happens, like in real life as well as in books. Like, you know, you don't have any right to go to a parent and tell them that they're doing this wrong. This also happened like in Scandalous, by L.J. Shen. There was the 4th book or something in the series, Sinners of Saints, I think it was called. Anyway, so when that happens, I don't like it. Like, if a parent tells you to not give the child Coke or like soda, you're not going to give them Coke. Okay, it's the parent's choice. Obviously, when in this situation becomes drastic and it's like borderlining on abuse, then somebody needs to step in. But when that's not happened, like, strict parenting is not necessarily a bad thing, right? It's their choice. At the end of the day, it's the parents' choice how to raise their children. Like I said, if it borderlines on abuse, then that is a bad thing. But other than that, it's the parents' choice. You don't have any right, nanny or whatever does not have any right to go in and tell them that they're doing it wrong. Especially when it comes to single parent, like, they're doing their best. You don't have any right to tell them and go, like, be like, you're doing this all wrong. Like, what made you the expert? Okay, I did not like that. I did not like that in Scandalous, and I did not like that in this book either. Scandalous, I haven't even finished yet, actually. I want to finish it. That's why I'm not discussing that. But maybe, I don't know. I might not finish it. I don't know. Next book I'm going to be talking about is Empire of Sin. I gave it 3 stars. The reason why I included this in the worst book I've read in 2023 is because of conceptual disgust. I don't care what Rena Kent wants us to believe. This book was borderline pedophilia. Okay, okay, the reason I gave this 3 stars is like, when I read the book, I enjoyed the time that I've spent to read the book. Okay, but all throughout those times, I was like, this is not right, this is not right, this is not right, this is not right. So that's why I'm putting it here. I gave it 3 stars because, like I said, I did not hate the book when I read it. But this book should not have been written in the first place. So the story, it's like Nate, who is Kingsley's best friend, okay, and Kingsley's daughter Gwyneth Kingsley had Gwyneth when Kingsley was 18 years old, and Nate is also Kingsley's age. So Nate has literally watched Gwyneth grow up. Like from day one, Nate was there. Even through law school, so they're lawyers. Even through law school, Nate literally watched Gwyneth grow up. Nate, I wouldn't say raised, but I think Nate had a part in raising her. And she called him. Gwyneth called Nate Uncle Nate up until her 18th birthday, where she, might I add, without consent, kissed him. It was just a small kiss. He pushed her away, and then for the next 2 years, from her 18th birthday to her 20th, for the next 2 years, Nate avoided any contact with Gwyneth because he was thinking thoughts that he shouldn't have. Like I said, borderline pedophilia. And then Kingsley goes into a coma because of an accident. To protect his assets, Nate decides to marry Gwyneth, promising that they're not going to touch each other. When at the first sight of jealousy, he fingers her. I think so. I think that's what he does. And then they have sex, like immediately. So, like I said, borderline pedophilia. I said this to my friend, and he was like, "Dude, that is not okay." And I was like, "I know, this is so not okay. Like, that just isn't okay." By the way, I love this earrings. It was like 20 rupees. I love it. I'm sorry, it's just not okay. That just isn't okay. Rena Kent should not have written this book. And I feel like if Rena really wanted to write this book, I think she should have made Gwyneth way, way, way older. Like maybe like, I don't know, at least like 26 or like 27 when they executed this. Because age gaps can be a very tricky thing when they're like, when the younger one is 18 or 19 and the older one is like 20 something, you know, 30 or whatever. This guy's like, when she's 20, he's 38. There's an 18-year-old age gap, which is tricky, which in itself is tricky, especially when she's so young. It's just not cool. It is not cool. I'm sorry, I don't know what anybody has to tell me, but even if it's fiction, it's just not okay. Okay? I think usually I'm not a huge fan of age gap. I try to avoid it. Like when I read books, even if it's age gap, I try to like avoid it. In my head, the age gap is like maximum 3 years or like 4 years, whatever. If I can avoid it, I do avoid it. I don't think about the age gap at all. That's what I did in this book. Like when I read it, I avoided it, and like immediately after I finished reading, I was like, no. So like I said, this book should not have been written in the first place, but since she did write it, since I did read it, I'm gonna give it 3 stars because I didn't hate the book while I read it. But alright, so that's it. That's all. That's the worst books I've read in 2023. Thank you for tuning in. So if you've gotten this far, as usual, hit that subscribe button, comment, like, share. If you have any bookish friends, share. And when you do hit the subscribe button, do not forget to press the bell icon. I think my brain is short-circuiting right now, so